What's up, everyone? Welcome to Level 7. Happy Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you. I've been in a Star Wars mode lately, playing games, reading books, rewatching animated stuff, and I've been so excited to watch these final 2 episodes of Maul Shadow Lord for the longest time because I reviewed it for the site, got to see the first 8 episodes early, but I've just been hanging on because I didn't get those last 2. And so finally here on May the 4th, on Star Wars Day, the Maul Shadow Lord finale is airing on Disney Plus. And here to help me break it down, I don't know if I even said my name. My name is TJ Zwarch. This is Jam. How you doing, Jam?
I'm doing well. Hello, everybody. Thank you guys for tapping in with us here. Thank you for having me, TJ. As always, as we've been breaking down Maul this past, 4 weeks technically, 4 or 5 weeks, because they've been dropping every episode. So we
Yeah,
got
5 now. 5 now.
five now because they got 2 every week. Yeah, man. I'm very wrong chat. I see there. I posted in our chat. But yeah, man. I'm excited to dive into this. Thank you once again for having me. And it's been a long weekend as we talked a little bit for both of us off pod. So yeah.
Yeah, we'll dive into Whatcha Watchin to start things off. And for me, it's honestly less about what I've been watching and more about what I was up to this weekend. I had a incredible, so much fun, wonderful weekend, but also an exhausting weekend. I started things off. I flew to New York on Thursday. I got to see so many of our wonderful friends living in New York. Rachel, Leah, Sophie. Got to hang out with them, go out for dinner, and went to a show. I guess what I've been watching is I saw a Broadway show. I saw Dog Day Afternoon with John Bernthal and Eben Moss-Backrack. A couple other big names in there too. I can't remember the actors' names off top. I think the one guy's name's John Ortiz, but he plays Braga in the Fast and the Furious movies. He was in this as well. And then Jessica Jones's mom was also in this performance. It was fun. It was wacky. I did not know what I was getting into, and I got into it. But above all else, like, John Bernthal was like the lead by a lot. You know, I was kind of surprised at how small Eben Moss-Backrack's role was. It kind of seemed like maybe he just wanted to do this because it's like, hey, I'm doing a show with my buddy on Broadway, considering, you know, they did Punisher, they did The Bear, and now here. But really entertaining show. John Bernthal was incredible. And then Friday, took the train to Connecticut, got to see our wonderful Agents of Fandom co-host, Damon Gray. Also got to see Emma Doris as well, here often on the pod with us. And it was Damon's wedding. And so that was a wonderful, beautiful occasion. It was like it wasn't cold, but it was like cloudy and kind of dreary. And then as soon as his wife, Erin, like walked out, it was an outdoor ceremony. I swear, the clouds separated. The sun shone down. It was just like the coolest thing ever. It was absolutely beautiful. Great food, great times. So awesome to see Damon. And I caught up. I finally finished my season 3 Rebels rewatch. And so today I started Thrawn Alliances, the second Thrawn book that just features Vader and Thrawn hanging out, doing a mission together. And it's super interesting so far. One of the funniest parts is like on the flashback, it's showing where like one time Thrawn and Anakin met during the Clone Wars, before Thrawn was with the Empire, before Anakin was Vader. And there's just like such a long back and forth where it's like, this is not a comedy book at all, right? Like, it's a very like intense thriller drama. And then it's like, his name's like, my name is Mithron Yorodo. And then Anakin's like, yeah, Mithron Orodo. And then he's like, it might be easier for you to just call me Thrawn. He's like, don't be condescending. I can do it. Mithron Orodo. Mithron Orodo. And they just keep going back and forth until he finally agrees to call him Thrawn. And it's like one of those bits that goes on for so long that it's like, okay, this is funny. All right, this isn't funny anymore. They're still doing it. This is funny. Like it was just like kind of one of those ones, and I'm having a great time with it so far. How about you? How was your weekend? What you been watching?
Weekend was hectic, bro. I pretty much did a lot of nothing, like trying to catch up on rest. Last week with work, like actual, like my regular 9 to 5 was so hectic. Physically, you got for those that don't know, TJ knows, of course, but for those that don't, I work like in a warehouse for medical. So I'm always building pallets, shipping stuff for to the hospital to the 12 hospitals that, as well as some offices that we partner with. So it's always hectic. It's always busy. But this week specifically, I was a lot of forklifting, a lot of a lot of pallet jacking, and so it was hefty. And so this weekend was pretty much me just catching up on rest. I didn't really get to watch anything new. And in fact, one of my animes actually took sometimes they do that. Like they'll take a week or two off. You know what I mean? Things like that. So that was Damon's of the Shadow Realm, but still watching Euphoria. Still keep. I'm sad because obviously this is our last Shadow Lords episode today, as well as tomorrow will be our final episode on Daredevil Born Again. So I'm a little saddened because we have no shows to hang out and just shoot the shit with, but we'll be back hopefully for Star Wars Mando and Grogu. Um, I'm keeping up with the
Plus,
boys.
the following week we got the Punisher too, so it's like we still got
Oh right,
our Daredevil related stuff continuing. Then there's Mando and Grogu, so we're not going to be like, and then a couple more episodes of the boys, which I guess as of like, well, that's during the daytime, so you're not on for that one, but
yeah,
like
yeah.
not quite as jam packed as it has been, but like we still got some fun stuff coming up.
Yeah, we still got it exactly. We still got great stuff going on. Like you said, The Boys is what I'm keeping up with. Still on my Abbott Elementary, man. I love that show. It's just so good. This season particular, they hit something really at home, I think, with relationships. So I thought that was really important. And then my the only anime that was airing this week was Doctor Stone, still on that final season. So great. And then For All Mankind from Apple TV, we just had our season finale of Monarch end on this past Friday. That's kind of really all I've watched as far as like in the shows department. Movies, I think the only thing I've seen that I haven't talked with you about since last week. Let me see here. Yeah, we talked about Michael Jackson, and the movie Apex, that movie with Taron Egerton and Charlize Theron on Netflix. I always am grateful that terrible movies cast phenomenal actors to carry them, because that's what this was. They were so great and this movie was just so bad, but they were so great that I could appreciate that. Um, I did finally get a chance this week to sit down and watch Marty Supreme. Phenomenal movie.
That's weird because I guess it's not that weird because it just hit streaming. But
Yeah.
that was what I was watching on the plane ride home, and I only finished the first half, so I was gonna wait to bring it up till I finished it. But I also have started watching that.
Okay, so no spoilers. Phenomenal movie. I genuinely think this was one of the best performances of Timothy Chalamet's career, as well as one of the best performances of last year. It just, according to me, as well as the Academy, it wasn't the best, you know. But no, I really think I'm torn between Marty Supreme and Dune 2. With Timothy Chalamet's the best performance. This was really good. I got it at a 4.5 out of 5 on Letterbox. A really winner to loser story, and I loved it. Again, no spoilers for my guy TJ and those of you that haven't seen it yet. And then lastly, Playdate was something that was like last year with on Amazon, excuse me, Prime Video, with Kevin James and Alan Richson. So fun, such a fun movie. It's like one of those wacky 2000s like action movies where the CGI is noticeably bad, but it just makes it fun for the movie. It's a great time, great time. That's all I've been watching, man. I know we always, dive a little bit into games, but me and you have kind of like so many different games at this point too, that I feel like it's always great to kind of throw a little like sprinkle in there. The only thing I can say that I did finish, I'll say this: I finished Super Mario Galaxy for my Throwback Thursday streams. So I will be getting into Super Mario Galaxy 2 as the movie is still overall in the theaters. But that's pretty much it, bro.
I just got to the point in Fallen Order where I'm speaking of Terrans, not Edgerton, but Terran Malicos. I'm fighting him on Dathomir right now. And then I did finally start playing, since it is in the GameCube part of Nintendo Switch. I started playing Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness over my trip as well. So diving into that one. Before we start talking Maul, I want to talk a little bit of Star Wars Day today, because today is, of course, May the 4th. And I got to admit, there was like so many people online, especially because of how deep I am in the Star Wars algorithm right now with all the stuff I've been doing. So many people online, just like within the Star Wars community and without, being like, this is going to be a really big Star Wars day. You know, they got a lot coming up. We're going to get some stuff from Mando and Grogu. People are saying we're going to get a look at Star Wars Zero Company. We might get a date for the next Star Wars Jedi game.
Zero.
We
What's Zero
might get,
Company?
yeah, we might, video game. We might get another look at like another still or poster for Star Wars Starfighter. Maybe there's an Ahsoka trailer. We got another teaser for Mandalorian Grogu. That was it. That was all. Another poster for Mandalorian Grogu. That was it. This isn't typically a day where they do a bunch of announcements or anything like that. So it was just like, man, I bought into hype that, you know, maybe there wasn't anything actual credible backing it, but would have been cool to see a little bit more than what was out there today.
No, 100%. I mean, I text you immediately. I was like, "Hey," or we talked about it. Like, we might get like a little announcement or a trailer or something. And you're right. I also fell into the hype because they usually, to your point, they usually don't announce anything on May the 4th. It's usually like around Star Wars Celebration, I believe in June, where things start to kind of roll out and come. So, you hit that on like nail on the head, nail in the head. But man, that teaser was actually pretty cool, kinda tying into it's kind of what, I believe me, you, and was it Sean? We kinda mentioned a while back that well, I think it was when we actually around the Super Bowl when we actually got the first trailer, how we wanted something with the marketing to be focused on like, "Hey, Star Wars hasn't been around in a few years." And I feel like that's what this teaser was. It was like all of the eras of the movies, like, kinda intertwined into a, "Here we go. We're back." And it felt I don't know, it felt fatherly almost, like, it felt
Yeah,
like
well,
that
like a real emphasis on those father and son bonds. I wish they would have given us some more like Kanan and Ezra stuff in there too. But hey, that's fine. Like the Obi-Wan Anakin of it all, the Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, and Rey and Luke. A lot of cool stuff there tying into this movie as well. So yeah, kind of like you said, it wasn't like it's been gone for this long, but it was, hey, look at all these things you love. This is that. This is that. We're back. We're in theaters. We're and it was while I wanted more different things, I did like what they did for the Mandalorian Grogu today. 100%. We will be talking Daredevil Born Again tomorrow night, Tuesday night, for the finale of Daredevil Born Again season 2. We will be joined by the composers for the series, the Newton brothers, live immediately after the show to break it down. We'll go, you know, talk some behind the scenes, talk some music. Hopefully they'll give us some tidbits about how things are going with their season 3 composition, how things are going with X-Men 97 and things like that. And then Wednesday, we will be talking The Boys. Thursday, Comic Corner is back. Plus, we got some interviews dropping in the next bit as well. Comic Corner co-host AF Parker was at a Comic-Con in, I believe, Cape Town, and he got some great interviews that will be coming to the channel in the next couple of days or week or so as well. So stay tuned for that. Follow us on socials at Agents Fandom on TikTok and Twitter, Agents of Fandom everywhere else, and make sure you subscribe here on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. If you're on YouTube, hit the like button. If you're on a podcast feed, leave us a nice 5-star rating or review. It really, really helps us battle those algorithms. Let's start talking Maul, my friend. We are 14 in. It's our last Maul Monday of the year, but season 2 has already been confirmed. We know we are getting more of it. What did you think of season 1? Spoiler free.
absolutely loved it. We mentioned it all throughout this series. We weren't expecting a Maul show, and it's kind of one of those shows that we're like, "Hey, is is this needed?" And as you've mentioned all throughout this journey, those are really the shows that are kind of the hitters now, like a Andor, like a Maul, like a Agatha All Along, a Wonder Man, and so it's phenomenal. I think this is genuinely top 5-ish animated Star Wars shows for me. I feel confident in saying that overall this
How many
journey,
more than 5 are there?
maybe like 7, 8, 9, something like that. It's like somewhere in there. I mean, if we
I
sat here
think,
and named them all.
honestly, like, and we'll get more to the reviewing portion at the end, but I think it's like it's either 3 or 4.
I might have
Visions
it
is
at
hard to
5.
kind of I kind of have Vision separate,
I
but
agree.
like it's either Bad Batch or this.
That's where I'm at.
It's kind of hard. I kind of have Clone Wars just like locked into the 2 spot no matter what, because like like Bad Batch and like all of Bad Batch and Maul Shadow Lord, the entirety of that is a lot better than the woes of Clone Wars. But it's just such a long-standing, integral, important show with such wildly high highs that it just like always slots into that 2 spot for me still.
I'm with you. I'm so Clone Wars and Rebels. They're intertwined for me. Like I don't mind when people say Clone Wars is 1 and Rebels is 2, or vice versa. Rebels is 1 and Clone Wars is 2. Like I could be swayed either or. I guess for me, it's just depending on that feeling or that mood or what I'm into in that moment. Because as you mentioned, I think Ezra and Kanan's like master and like apprentice relationship is some of the best in all of Star Wars, if not the best, right? So I think there's just like again, like you mentioned, there's so many high highs in Rebels as well as in the Clone Wars that I don't those two are like it's like 1A and 1B for me almost. But obviously there has to be a 1 and 2. But yeah, for me, I could see that. Shadow Lord and Bad Batch at number 3 and 4. I wasn't a
I think
big
for me, I think for me, I got Maul Shadow Lord over Bad Batch with 1 season so far.
I think I'm opposite, only because personally I really like the mercenary clone, like I like that whole aspect of Star Wars as almost as much as I like the Jedi stuff. And that's why I love the Clone Wars as much, is because you get that aspect with Anakin, Obi-Wan, Ahsoka, but then Rex and the clones are with them as like their squadron, as his crew, you know what I mean? So you get that whole both eras that I love. So I think that's why I like Bad Batch a little more than Maul, but it's also very similar to the Clone Wars and Rebels. It's very close. Like I wouldn't be mad at being swayed either way. You know what I mean?
Bad Batch certainly got me more emotional. I was more hooked on the story of Bad Batch, but Bad Batch didn't have anything near as holy shit, this is cool as Maul Shadow Lord does. And I do think this finale of Maul Shadow Lord is one of the best episodes in Star Wars animation history. Like it
I
is
agree.
up there with the greats. It is not like I talk about it each week, but like Twilight of the Apprentice, that's the pinnacle for me. That's the top. It doesn't reach that height, but it's up there. It is absolutely up there. It's up there with Twin Suns, Maul's death in Rebels. It's up there with some of the greats. And one of the things this show does interesting, and it's another one that kind of makes it tough to compare to Bad Batch. Bad Batch is filled with twists and turns, and you never know what's going to happen. And it has some really great reveals because you didn't expect it. Think that this to be going on.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas there are 2 types of rewarding reveals, right? One, the one that comes that you did not see coming. 2, one that you did see coming, but it was set up so perfectly that it's not the surprise that makes it great, but the grandeur of when you finally reach that point that makes it great. And that's what we got in this episode. That's what we really got in this episode. There were no surprises. Everything we thought was going to happen happened, but it didn't take away from it at all. It
Yeah.
was still ever so satisfying. Let's dive into it. Full spoilers for Maul Shadow Lord, episode 7 and 8. Let's kind of like slowly build up to the finale, because that's what they do with these 2 episodes here. It is like quite exciting straight from the get-go. We get them having to escape the Empire, and Maul's taken down walkers, and they're battling up against the Inquisitors. So it is very action-packed straight from the get-go. What did you think of the start of this episode, where we get some really cool Maul stuff? Like when he like the way he took down that walker slicing through it, then throwing the saber. I'm such a sucker for like a boomerang lightsaber throw. It's so fucking cool. It's kind of I sort of want to be like just skip into the craziness that is the finale and the end of this episode. But this was some really, really great and really, really cool action at the beginning of this as well. The fight choreography was and the animation was beautiful.
Yeah, it was a fun time. I'm with you. Anytime you get a little boomerang throw from any of the Star Wars characters, it's great. It's awesome. It shows. I felt like this moment showed how I don't want to say powerful Maul is, but at the same time, like I guess his ability to like deal with the Empire when he's been a part of. I don't want to say a part of the Empire, but he was kind of like the Sith for so long. So it's really interesting to see him, and then of course Daki and Devin like team up right next to him. Right? I thought that was awesome. I thought that was awesome. But what the main thing is the beginning of this episode. It really sets the tone for like as you said, this whole 2 episodes were like crazy action packed, and not to the point where it didn't miss story beats either. Right? Like it was still hitting in all the things, and it kind of brings me back to like what you said a little bit earlier. And what I've kind of mentioned along a lot of our pods. Right? I always feel like just because we know something's gonna happen, it's like a roller coaster. You get to that moment and then it actually happens, doesn't take away from that experience just because you knew the drop was coming. And so that's kind of how I felt here. And when we get to the beginning of this episode again, for me, it just really sets the tone of how action packed and wild this is gonna be. And then from the walker and them taking down the walker, we get to this I guess meeting rendezvous point that Lawson's person is gonna take them to, because that's kind of like what happened before. Is like they met up with Maul, right? They met up with Maul because he's like putting this dream in Devin's head, and then once they finally meet, they like you said, they take down the walker and everything, and they get to that point where it's like Lawson is having to lead the way, and that's one thing I liked a lot is Maul kind of stopping and saying we like his Rook, was the Mandalorian. There's no diagrams of where we're going here. And Lawson's like, nah, I'm sure. And then so Maul untrusting, he's like, lead the way. Lead the way,
Some of those
right?
Mandalorians were getting hit right in the Beskar, and I'm thinking, how do you go down so easily? How are you guys going down when you're getting hit in the best armor in the history of the galaxy?
Yeah, I don't they
It was
just
a
not.
little weak. It was a little weak sauce on behalf of those Mandos. But like, kind of like to your point, hitting the story beats, there were so many subtle blink and you miss it moments in this episode of like, as the three of them, Maul and Daki and Devin are all fighting together. Daki's just giving Devin these like brief little looks as he can see she is teetering closer and closer to the dark side as she's utilizing more and more of her anger within this fight. And he's telling her, like, hey, like, stay calm, don't give into the fear. And Maul's like, get angry as the three of them are fighting here. I also found it fascinating coming off of last episode where Maul's like, never let this happen to anyone ever again, in terms of like Palpatine grooming them and throwing them away. And we talk about how like Maul will never be redeemed, one, because of the terrible things he has done, two, because he is just so entrenched in his fear and his anger that he's never going to get out of this dark pit that he's in. But you see him attempting all throughout this episode. One of them, like, you expect him to be like, Devin, get over there. Like when they're trying to run and they each have to take turns jumping on that little thing that sends them across. It makes sense he would send Devin first. He wants his apprentice. He wants her to live. But he sends Daki across too, so that he can hold them off. And then, you know, as we'll get into it for the next episode, motherfucking Vader shows up, which we will talk about a lot more here shortly. There's another moment when they're fighting Vader that he does the exact same thing. He lets not only Devin but Daki go away as well. So it's like, oh shit, he's growing to care about them a little bit. And then of course that all comes crumbling down with one pivotal moment when he sees an opportunity and he takes it later on in the finale. But before we move on to the Vader stuff, R.I.P. my guy Spybot. The best droid in the series. Number one droid in the series, Spybot, R.I.P.
Yeah.
Two Boots, I got to admit, though, Two Boots is... I was hard on him at the beginning, but he is growing on me more and more. Two Boots is... He's becoming that guy, and I appreciate him. He's a protector. He realized what he did was wrong, and he's on the right side now. So shout out to Two Boots for finally coming around. I love the way this episode ends because I'm sitting there thinking, like, one, this was right after the Mandalorians get shot down after getting shot in the Beskar, and I'm like, what the hell? You guys get back up. And then they're running away, and I'm thinking, why are they letting these guys run away? These are two Inquisitors with the helicopter sabers. They could very easily fly off and just chase them. I'm pulling too many plot holes out of this fight, and I don't... Oh, who are they talking to on their comms? They're coming right to you, sir. That's why they're not chasing after him. They want him. They're sending him into a trap. And Vader shows up, and it's fucking terrifying. And it's just like the Rogue One moment where he pops up. We had a feeling he could be showing up. We hoped he would be showing up. It wasn't that big of a surprise, but damn, did it feel good when he did.
Yeah, I was actually not expecting Vader to show up. Like, I wasn't surprised, but like I felt like it would be out there. Like, if he showed up, I was like, I did not expect him to be there already. I thought when the Empire came in search for Maul, they would just send the Inquisitors to kind of, peek their eyes out to see if he was really there. I didn't expect Vader to really already be there. So I thought that was very interesting. But I want to backtrack a little bit into the first episode, which is the episode 9. I think episode 9's fight scene in that cave, them crossing, is to me some of the best like shots, like war aspects in all of Star Wars. One thing I really loved about it particularly is the scene where the two Inquisitors, Maul and Devon and Daki, all like get into like a sword little quick struggle, and it's like a pose, it's like a still frame where they're all of their
They're going
lightsabers
like
collide,
fully synchronized all together, and it looks really cool.
Yeah, but then they get that still image where they're all like lightsaber struggling against each other for like 2 seconds. It was masterful, absolute cinema, as well. And I loved it because it was kind of like the animation, like you said, it was really beautiful these last few episodes, but or overall the whole series. But in that scene, you kind of get like this camera angle view from the back of not where Lawson and Riley and Two Boots have crossed already, but more off to the side, like where this toxic waste is. So you kind of can panel and see the whole battle. And it was like from a cliff angle. Thought it was beautiful. But then, as you said, they get to this point where Vader pulls up, and it's like that, like you mentioned, Rogue One moment where he's out in the fog, right? He's in this darkness of the fog, and you just hear the voice, the breathing. Not voice. I take that back. You don't hear the voice. You just hear the breathing. And Rook gets dragged. Was it Rook? It was Rook. She got dragged into the darkness, and you hear her basically neck snap or whatever the case may be. And then here comes Vader come out. And Maul's like look when he sees him is just like, I know you, but I don't know you. It's like a really big shock moment, but it's not like it's just kind of like a surprise, like a oh we're fucked like moment. And then then the episode just ends. Then the episode just ends right there.
And the way it ends in the, Vader's theme, Empire's theme, and then when the next episode starts, it transitions directly into Duel of the Fates. And it not only sonically is incredible, but then as soon as the story of episode 8 begins, we have Maul and Devin each saying, like, this is how we have to... Sorry, Maul and Daki each saying, like, this is the way we can defeat them. Devin, do it my way. Devin, no, do it my way. You literally have her like Tobey Maguire trying to stretch out and hold the train, getting pulled from each of these sides. And it's a duel of the fates for Devin. It is the duel of Devin's fate. As both Daki and Maul are fighting against Vader, you know, if Daki dies, if her master dies, she will fall to the dark side. If Maul dies and her master lives, she's probably going to be able to stay in the light of the Jedi. And it's so cool the way that they pulled that in there, have the two of them going at it. There's even like another one of the parallels to earlier stuff is when Iko Diodaki, Master Daki, Uncle Daki, is fighting solo against Vader in like one of those moments. Not only does he like start things off with the Obi-Wan pose, but it's like a very brief 1-for-1 for a portion of it of Obi-Wan and Anakin's fight on Mustafar. But the difference is but Idaki is just he's not the match Obi-Wan is. You know what I mean? Like Anakin is just purely overpowering, and he does the same backwards flip, but he doesn't get to the high ground, and he just doesn't have the power to match up against Darth freaking Vader, because very few people do. And R.I.P. Uncle Diodaki. You're muted.
Yeah, I was gonna say he hit him once. He got him once. And that's when like Vader was like, "Yeah, let me stop playing with you, man." And that was immediate. Like then he starts throwing the haymaker down with the lightsaber. It's just the hammer. You don't even call it a lightsaber at that point. It's like a hammer. He just keeps knocking him, and that's basically what got Uncle Daki. He just couldn't keep up with the force or the strength of Vader. I mean, if we're being honest, both him and Maul weren't doing that great against Vader. Vader was still handling both of them. It was points to where they would both force push him back, and Vader would like slide back a little bit, and it just looks.
It was literally cool. Like in a video, like in the Jedi Fallen Order games, when you try and like fight a Vader or somebody of that caliber, and you try and do a force push on them, and they're just like, and they don't move, and they're like, "What the hell are you trying to do, man?"
Yeah, it was, and then I mean, throughout the whole episode, you see them playing little cat and mouse games because Vader is after them, obviously, and they're over here bringing down like ceilings and stuff with the Force, and it's taking both all of Maul's strength and all of Daki's strength. Sometimes Devon is with them and pulling stuff down, and Vader is just holding it with his one hand while his lightsaber is in the other, chasing after them. It's one moment when at the end, I guess like TJ said, you know, RIP Uncle Daki, and it kind of pissed. I mean, Devin saw it. It pissed her off, and she's like in this cavern, and then she walks around the corner after she's trying to chase the ninth. What is it? What is he? The ninth brother, the crow mask guy.
I believe ninth, but man, can we just take a second to acknowledge we can never get fooled ever again that something cool is going to happen with Merrick.
Yeah.
He is just exclusively the guy who's going to show up and go out just so weakly.
We still got season 2.
But like, this dude is fighting, and he falls down into a pit. We know he's going to come back, but just like nothing cool or climactic about this character whatsoever. We thought there was going to be some great reveal in Ahsoka. Poof, she stabs him. He turns into dust. We thought we were going to get some cool backstory on him here. Nah, he just gets thrown down a pit. This is just the guy that's there to lose.
He is the ultimate MacGuffin. That's what it is.
Not even a MacGuffin, though. MacGuffins are important. He just shows up and gets his ass kicked.
I mean, he is kind of important. He's the first Inquisitor always on scene. If you think about it, he's like the...
I mean, we've only seen him twice. We've seen a lot of Inquisitor stuff. He's the first brother, but you see why they needed more brothers and sisters after him, because he's kind of whack.
Oh, my God. Oh, man. But the scene that I was talking about was when she turns the corner. I think it's the ninth brother or whatever. They're going with the crow's mask, and she's chasing after him. But Vader comes around the corner, and he just starts haymaking at everything, and she's just dodging, and she can't keep up. And at that moment, Maul is like, "No!" and he tries to bring the Force down. And the cavern down using the Force, and Vader is just at that point he's lost it, man, because he's haymakering and throwing like the rocks at everywhere, and it's like a moment that it's just shows how powerful he is. Like no matter what you throw at him, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
They stood no chance. Like these three against him, especially with the Inquisitors there, stood absolutely no chance against Vader. They did inconvenience him and slow him down. And to me, like watching this, it did kind of like beg the question for me. It's something I've always thought, and it would be something that I'd love to see like a Star Wars Visions what if style thing version of. I think I might have brought this up once on the podcast, but it made me think about this even more. Of like, man, what if Ahsoka, Obi-Wan, Yoda, Maul, Ezra, and Kanan just pulled up to Vader's house one day and were like, we're going to try and kill this dude. Obviously, you know, like the only one who could turn him and he ultimately take down the Emperor, because if you take down him, you still would have to deal with the Emperor. You needed Luke to turn him. Nobody else was going to be able to do that. But like, Obi-Wan and Ahsoka, like even without Maul, Kanan, and Ezra, because they're probably not going to do much anyways. They're just running, you know, making sure nobody else pulls up on him and interferes with the fight. If they just had Obi-Wan, Yoda, and Ahsoka pull up on Vader, maybe could have killed him.
I don't even know if you need Yoda. I feel like just Obi-Wan and Ahsoka could do it. I feel like that's all you need.
Possible. And I mean, I guess like we even see Obi-Wan and Anakin fight, and Obi-Wan just still leaves him in the series as well. Probably the biggest like reason, the biggest flaw in that series is like, Obi-Wan, bro, you could have stopped all of this from happening again. But alas, that's not the Jedi way. You know, they're trying to build a new hope. They're trying to have something to believe in, do this the right way, and not just go and assassinate the dude. But maybe they could have. Maybe they could have.
I think if the Inquisitors weren't there, they would have had a way better chance of. I think they could have maybe
like getting away safely. Never beating him, but getting away safely.
I don't want to say not even potentially not beating him. Like I feel like them three could have possibly immobilized.
There was
Vader.
No point. He wasn't just toying with them.
I mean, I don't know. What's her name from Survivor was enough to just immobilize Vader by herself
for a second, only for her to, like that. So that's the thing, right? She got him to the point where it was like, oh shit, and then she died. As soon as Vader stops toying with you because you get a good shot in, that's when you're dead.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I feel like, for example, at the end right there when Vader killed Daki, that was because Daki got his hit in. If Maul and Devon were there and Vader loses his shit there, they still have to play interference. So Daki doesn't have to take on the full brunt force of those haymakers. I feel like 3 Jedi, and they weren't like bullshit Jedi. Like they weren't just whack. If Vader is like S tier, they're like A, B tier. They're not like, they're pretty, it's Maul. So we're not going to act like Maul is like crap.
That's still, no, they're not though, because if Vader's S tier, A tier is Ahsoka and Obi-Wan, and they're not there.
I feel like Obi-Wan and Ahsoka are S tier, bro.
But no, because they aren't on Vader's level. No one is. That's why he's Vader.
I feel
if
like
Luke was not his son and Luke didn't convince him to turn to the light, Vader would have kicked his ass. No one beats Vader. He's Vader.
I mean, Ahsoka almost beat him in Rebels, but we're not going. All right.
That's why she's one below.
He just got muted.
All she was able to do is just stave him off. And so, like, it's kind of one of those things where
is Palpatine
as soon as he stops toying with you because you get a good shot in, it's like somebody's fighting a boxer and they get a good one in. Lip starts to bleed. They're not getting in another shot.
Okay? So is Palpatine S tier?
Yes.
Is Yoda S tier?
Not at this point in canon, but at his prime, yes.
I would say Obi-Wan is S tier. We just said he beat Anakin twice. Anakin and Vader.
That's just because that was his teacher. He's not at that same level, though.
Bro, he beat. I don't know. I feel like Anakin. I mean, I feel like Obi-Wan.
That is Anakin's thing. Or sorry, that was Obi-Wan's thing. He loses these 1-to-1 battles consistently against these strong characters unless they're unless they're Anakin. All throughout the Clone Wars, he's getting his butt kicked by Ventress, by Grievous, by Dooku. It's just
He kills
Anakin.
Grievous.
He knows because he taught him.
He kills Grievous in Clone Wars, in Attack of the
Yeah,
Clones.
they lose a lot of times too, though. That's kind of my point. He's definitely a tier below.
I feel like I don't know. I feel like Ahsoka and Obi-Wan. All right, if Ahsoka and Obi-Wan are even if they're
Obi-Wan and
A-tier,
Yoda were on the same tier as Palpatine, they never would have lost. The Empire never would have won.
you feel like
They would have sensed them.
yo. That's not. I don't know if I agree with that. I don't know if I agree with that. I feel like being strong in the Force as well as the whole political aspect of Star Wars is very different sides. Like I feel like the reason Palpatine won was because he played into the politics aspects of things, not
The
just
reason
the
he won
Sith.
is because he was sitting in their room and they had no idea he was a Sith Lord.
Yes, but that doesn't mean that he's just beating. He lost to Mace Windu. Are we gonna sit here and say Mace Windu is not S tier? Right, that's my point. If Anakin wasn't,
are you saying Obi-Wan is Mace Windu level strength?
I think Obi-Wan at his prime is because remember Mace Windu died in his prime essentially. I think Obi-Wan in his prime, which we see when he beats Vader. I feel like that Obi-Wan at the Obi-Wan.
Anakin, he taught him everything he knows.
But he's not. But he didn't beat just Anakin. He beat Vader too. That's my point. I feel like, and
that's
even
the same guy.
Yes, he is. But even in A New Hope, I feel like that's the point. Is that you can never beat me because I'm one with the Force. Like you're not one with the Force. I feel like it's more of that sense of thing. It's not just because he's Anakin and Obi-Wan. I feel like prime Obi-Wan, who's one with the Force, is stronger than Mace Windu. The reason I feel like that, I personally can say, like, based off of what we have, factual, Mace Windu couldn't see Force ghosts. You have to be strong within the Force to do that, right? I think Mace Windu is
so, but now you're going back to my thing, and then it's saying if they weren't strong enough to sense Palpatine, you can't pull the Force ghost thing into it because that's not strength. That's oneness with the Force. And if you're pulling that into the argument, then they still couldn't sense Palpatine. So if I couldn't include that, then you can't include that.
Well, no, I'm saying that's more so. You're saying that's why he won because they couldn't sense him. I'm saying I don't think
because he's more powerful in all ways than they are.
I mean, bro, Mace Windu beat him.
Sleeping. The only one who was close was Yoda.
Beat him though, sleeping. But the only reason he survived is because Anakin killed Mace Windu. Mace Windu beat him solo. Oh,
yeah, you're right. I'm not saying Mace Windu isn't among the very strongest. I'm saying Obi-Wan's not. Obi-Wan can be argued is the greatest Jedi of all time because of what he embodies and the way he stuck it out and trained Luke and became one with the Force. But if we are talking strongest, my dude doesn't crack the top 10.
But you saying strongest just within Force or strongest within like everything? Because when I think
ability to fight, we can say.
I disagree. I think Obi-Wan is easily top 5. Easily.
Not close.
Easily. Who is who? All right. I'll give you Anakin, Vader. I'll give you Mace Windu. I'll give you Yoda. Who else is strong?
Palpatine, Dooku.
I think
Dooku, Rey, Kylo.
I do not think Rey, Kylo, or Dooku is strong. I think Dooku was stronger during the Clone Wars.
Obi-Wan lost to Dooku so many times, even when he had Anakin's help.
But I'm talking about after Revenge of the Sith. I think to me, Obi-Wan Kenobi series is prime Obi-Wan. That's when he becomes
past his prime. He had to reclaim his power in it.
I feel like he's stronger.
And you can say he gets it back, but again, he has this. He's always going to have this the master over the student in Anakin. You take him in any other fight, one-on-one. The last one was away victorious was chopping Maul in half.
I'm gonna tell you why I think I personally think for one, again, I think the Obi-Wan series is prime. Get him getting his prime back, but that's him evolving and getting stronger, becoming more one with the Force. I think that is him succeeding in his prime right there. But I will say this leaves an intriguing question. Do you feel, because I don't know if I agree with this, this is where, to your point, I don't know if whoever wins or beats people, because I don't think Palpatine is stronger than Yoda by any means. Personally, I don't. But I think that whoever wins doesn't always indicate who's stronger. It's always situational, based off of kind of like the Stan Lee quote, whoever the story wanted to play. Because I'll give you another example. Maul is killed by Obi-Wan. Maul also kills Qui-Gon Jinn. Is Qui-Gon not stronger than Count Dooku, who he trained? But Obi-Wan
No,
also.
as a fighter, no.
I disagree. I don't know. I
Qui-Gon
disagree.
should have been the leader of the Jedi because he was the smartest and most connected to the will of the living force. As a straight combat warrior, no.
Oh no, I felt like he was pretty tough.
Then why did he die against Darth Maul?
That doesn't mean but Maul is like that though. Maul is like that. We acting like Maul is not good.
We're not on the level of the Top Guns. He's Maul. That's why he always loses. That's his whole thing.
I feel like Maul is.
He's not at that level. His whole story is why he's not S tier. His whole story is why he's not at the level of the Top Guns.
But what I'm saying is, I don't feel like just because the people, like for example, Ahsoka has beaten people, lost to people, does that mean she's not strong? Right? I think that's the thing with Star Wars. You have these situations where Yoda lost to Dooku. Like that's
Dooku's arguably S tier. Dooku is one of the strongest Jedi and just Force users in general in the history of the galaxy.
But okay, my point is
that's why he was Yoda's Padawan.
But is Dooku stronger than Yoda? No, that's my point. Like I don't think
strength-wise, pretty close.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
At this point in the story, where Yoda's like nearing the end, yeah, Yoda 100 years ago, 200 years ago, no.
I don't. All right. We're getting way off track here. I personally don't think Obi-Wan. I think Obi-Wan is easily top 10. I don't think he's not top 10. I think he's top 10. I think I think we could put that as a clip. I think that's debatable.
Hanging around 8, 9, 10 region, yes, maybe. If we're not counting High Republic.
You gotta no. You gotta name stronger Jedi to make that claim.
I just did.
You gave me
Force users: Palpatine, Anakin Skywalker / Vader, Yoda, Mace Windu, Dooku, Rey.
I don't agree with Rey and Kylo. I don't agree with Rey and Kylo.
Rey is arguably just as strong in the Force as Anakin was. That's the whole point of that story.
I gotta rewatch those, man. I gotta rewatch those. I don't know if I don't think Rey and Kylo are as strong as. Oh, you didn't mention Luke though, did you?
And Luke.
I'll give
Bump
you Luke.
Them down further. You want to go into the you want to go back into the High Republic time? We're talking Avar Chris. We're talking Venestra Rowe. He's not coming close, man.
I don't know these people. I think Obi-Wan is easily top 10, man. I think that's wild. I think that's a. You're muted again.
He's arguably top 1 greatest Jedi. He's not close to the strongest though.
I think he's top 10 strongest. We can ask people. We'll figure that out.
This is like saying Spider-Man, potentially the greatest hero in the history of heroes, is on the level of like the Hulk and Thor in terms of fighting strength.
Spider-Man is actually
that's kind of what this comparison is.
Spider-Man is actually really strong. He's fought the Silver Surfer and he's really strong. I mean,
not as strong as Hulk and Thor, man.
He has feats that equate to that. Is what I'm saying. Like this is why I don't talk like comic books feats like that, because that's the thing. Like manga versus comics, right? So people would say Superman has all of these crazy feats depending on what depiction. That's what I'm telling you right now.
I'm not talking about feats. I'm talking about strength.
Hey, based off Spider-Man's feats, man. I'm just saying. And I don't even like Spider-Man like that. Nah,
if you put Thor and Spider-Man under a bench press, who lifts more weight?
No, Thor lifts more weight for sure.
Okay. I just had to see. Where the line was going to be. But alas, the Vader stuff is great throughout this episode. We kind of had all of it at the end, except for we finally get our Devon turn.
Yeah.
My first thought, honestly, was Talon, like maybe it is time Darth Talon is born and this is what we are getting. And it does seem like it's certainly going that way. But the other thing I was thinking of, just like going to Rebels where Maul is so absolutely terrified of Vader. I kind of feel like we haven't necessarily seen anything quite yet to give him that level of fear. But if he loses his apprentice to Vader and Vader ultimately kills Devon in the second season or something like that, that does really scream to me a reason why, as he's trying to recruit Ezra to be his next apprentice, why he'd be like, get the fuck away from Vader. Get out of here now. I don't want you anywhere near Vader.
Or what
Because
if
if he
Vader
just
turns
lost his
her
apprentice to
further?
Vader a few years prior, I could absolutely see that being the case. But I hope it's not. I hope we see Darth Talon in full bloom because I like Angry Devin. She's sweet.
I like it too, and I'm thinking now instead, what if it's more so he turns her further and makes her an Inquisitor? And that's how Maul lost her, because he lost her to Vader after turning her into the dark side. And then it could even set up for Devin, as we mentioned, we would love to see Devin come back later in live action or something in like the Rey movie, right? What if when the Empire falls, Devin learning to survive from Maul became one with the Empire, and then after the Empire falls, she escapes as one of the last remaining Inquisitors.
I'm definitely hoping she escapes and gets away, and that's why we haven't seen her since. I don't really think there's canonical room for her to become an Inquisitor. Like, we
How
would
many
have,
is there? Have we
like,
seen all
it's
the
not that there
Inquisitors already?
necessarily can't be another one, but it just, to me, it feels like it'd be weird to be like to make her one because she hasn't popped up anywhere. Like, we have already filled in so much gap between Sith and A New Hope, between the Rebel stuff, Maul, Bad Batch, Fallen Order games, comics, books, etc. We would have known if there was a super strong Twi'lek Inquisitor already. I feel like
Maybe. I mean, it's still. I feel like the Revenge of the Sith and the New
she's
Hope
got to be
timeline
escaping
is.
somewhere where we wouldn't be able to have heard of her again. Essentially, if she's going to be alive down the line,
I'm talking about during like. You talking about after the Empire falls, or
or even leading up to it, because like we know where Maul goes next, and we know who the Inquisitors are hunting, and so she kind of has to be outside of that vein if she is going to be alive post when the Empire falls.
unless she's hunting for somebody specific or people specifically, like because how many you got to think about how many um Inquisitors, like numbers wise. I think there's like 9 brothers and then 9 sisters. Have we seen all of them?
More than that, but we have seen all those ones numbered to that point. I'm looking it up right now, but like again, it would require us there to be, I guess, a new Jedi we hadn't heard of yet at this point that she
I mean,
would be
to
hunting
be fair,
into.
they introduced a bunch of them in like in Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order and Survivor. So I mean, they could always add her into the third game there. You know what I mean? Like she could always be somebody we bump into there. It's possible. It just has to be, thought through. But I mean, I'm sure this story was thought through itself, like, the way they're executing it. Because this
Yeah.
takes place
My
during
guess
like
is
the
it's going to
beginning
be
of.
outside of the Inquisitor stuff. Like I can't see her working for Vader after he killed Daki. Like
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's true
that
too. I
doesn't
didn't think
really
about
seem
that.
within character to me. She seems like she wants her vengeance, but I think it'll definitely be like it's got to be going somewhere far away. Otherwise, we would have known about her by now. It's got to be in like a new story where she's hiding out.
Or like you said, or she dies.
That's again,
But with
yes. I
that, but
mean,
then this is so early. This is like really so early in the Empire, like before Rebels. I don't know how that would impact Maul to where it's now. Like years later in the Rebels, we're starting
well,
to
he's still
see.
got to come to the lead of Crimson Dawn, which I'm assuming is what we're going to see in season 2. Is him leading Crimson Dawn, and I hope, however season 2 ends, will be like him going to Malachor and whatever happens to him there. And I do think that would make sense that like that's either where Devon dies or gets away, and it's probably Vader who strands him there. Maybe I don't know, because I don't
Oh,
think Vader knew he was there in the first place. Yo, yes, they did because they sent the Inquisitors after him there. in Rebels. So
You're talking about in Rebels, yeah.
Vader's knew Maul was on Malachor, and so that would make sense that that is where we end season 2, is Vader fighting Devon and Maul on Malachor. Devon either dies or gets away.
It's just interesting, like, what would they do with Devon if she gets away? She just retires, like, because that doesn't seem, like, in line
I
with her
mean,
character
they don't
either.
have any problem with like doing that kind of thing though. It's like like maybe it's a Tales we see that story, but like Barriss was an inquisitor at the start, and she was like, "Nah, this isn't for me." Totally disappeared. We still have no idea what Ahsoka was doing in the original trilogy, and so it's not
Unless she's where she's
out of
been
the
this whole like
it's not the out of the ordinary for me to be like Devon has gone away, and maybe we'll hear that story another time. Considering we're still at that point with Ahsoka.
No, I know, I'm just saying, I feel like it's odd for her to, like, "retire," air quotes, when
I don't
she
think she'd be retired. I think she's just not part of the story we've been following in this corner of the galaxy.
I got you, okay,
Doing her
okay.
own thing somewhere else, like a Ventress, like a Barriss, like an Ahsoka.
I got you, okay.
Which I still assume Ahsoka was involved somehow, but we don't really know where she was during that time, other than
Um,
somewhere in this span she trained Sabine. But alas, let us know what you thought of the finale of Maul Shadow Lord. Does this rank among the very best episodes in Star Wars animation history? Let us know on socials at Agents Fandom on TikTok and Twitter, Agents of Fandom everywhere else. Make sure you subscribe here on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts so you don't miss out on all the great stuff we have coming. Tomorrow night, Tuesday night, we got the finale of Daredevil Born Again. Myself, Jam, and Sean will be joined by composers of Daredevil Born Again and X-Men 97 and so much more. The Newton brothers to break down the episode and the season. Full spoilers, behind the scenes. Gonna be a lot of fun. Wednesday, we're talking the boys. Thursday, Comic Corner. We got some interviews coming. We got the Punisher special coming. We got the Mandalorian and Grogu coming. It's a great time to be a fan of some nerdy stuff. Jam, where can the people find you on socials? Plug away what you'd like to plug, my friend.
yeah, man, you guys could check me out at Jam Session, just replace the E with an X. That's on all socials. On YouTube, you can check out my podcast, Journey Across Media. I will be returning back this coming week, talk about Daredevil Born Again. Got some fun guests. I'm going to have one of the actors that was an extra on the set of the episode, the boxing match episode. So that'll be fun. I actually know him personally, so he'll be joining me along with two other friends to talk about the show. Um, and you can check me out on Twitch as well. I'm actually gonna go live right now, stream on Twitch, playing Pokemon Fire Red. One thing I want to just highlight real quick before we head out of here, I am in a Star Wars kick as well, as TJ mentioned. This I have never saw a. I wanted to highlight this as our last episode of Maul, so this is like really special to me. I've never saw a Star Wars movie in theaters. Um, Growing up, I got into it later in life. I kinda got into it, like, right around the time The Mandalorian came out, like, the 1st or second. I think it was the 1st season, and so that's when I already seen the first, 1, 2, and 3, so I did see the prequels as a kid, just not in the theaters, and, I went back and rewatched the classics as soon as Disney Plus had it all on, watched all of The Mandalorian season 1 and 2, I think it was out at the time, and then got to see the sequel trilogy. And so what I'm really excited about is this Mandalorian and Grogu coming is gonna be my first experience in the theaters at a Star Wars movie. This is like an event type thing for me. But not only that, it's on my birthday. May 22nd, the movie comes out exactly on my birthday. And so it's like a
Are you
double
gonna wait
event.
to go see it on the Friday?
I'm gonna go see it. Yeah, because I usually could go see them on like Thursdays, like opening night, but I usually do that. But I'm gonna wait till Friday to go
Yeah.
see with a bunch of people. Like, because that
Oh
was my
yeah.
next thing. I haven't been to the movies for my birthday since I was a kid. I think it was Tobey Maguire's either Spider-Man 2 or 3 came out. And I was like, like a preteen or teenager at that time when those movies came out. So that was the last time I went to the movies on my birthday. So I'm really excited for this. First time in the theaters, seeing a Star Wars movie, and my first time in the movies for one of my birthdays, man. I'm excited. Just had to highlight that for Star Wars Day. And as we close out our Maul Shadow Lord pod episodes.
Heck yeah, man. I'm very excited for you. I hope you have the absolute best time. That's absolutely awesome. Thank you so much to everyone who joined us today. We will see you hopefully tomorrow night for some Daredevil Born Again. If not, you're here just for the Star Wars. We'll see you for Mandalorian and Grogu. Either way, we appreciate you. Tell some friends about the show. Hit the like button on your way out. On behalf of myself and Jam, we will see you next time.